So when Michael Penn and I set up Penn Candola back in 1984, at the heart of our work was a concept known as equal opportunities. So that was what it was about. And then about 10 years later, this kind of phrase kind of drifted across from America, where people talk about diversity. And I was coming under pressure from people to kind of say, well, why do you work in equal opportunities? You should be working in the area of diversity. I said, I don't know what it is. I don't know what diversity is. And so I was asked to write a review chapter for a psychology book, and I wrote about diversity and what it means. Kind of essentially, it's much the same as equal opportunities, actually. But and then I wrote a book. I co-authored a book, and that's where we kind of looked at the literature around things like targets. But what happened was that there was a reaction, there's an emotional reaction that people are having to the phrase equal opportunities or equality of opportunity. Oh no, not that again. Oh no, we talked about that before. And because the reaction was becoming so negative to that expression, it changed and became diversity. About 7 or 8 years after that, kind of the early 2000s, I noticed that some of our clients who were directors of diversity were now directors of diversity and inclusion. I can kind of see that was quite a helpful shift in some ways, but again, it's kind of, you kind of feel that diversity itself is kind of getting tainted, so you kind of need to update it, change it. And then more recently, it's become diversity, equity and inclusion. Now, equity has a harder edge to it. And you can see where it's come from. This diversity and inclusion stuff is not led anywhere. We've not improved things necessarily. So let's give it a harder edge by calling it equity. You know, equity for organisations means equality of outcome. So we're no longer just talking about having diverse workforce or creating an environment where people feel comfortable and valued and respected. We're now talking about a place where the outcomes are the same. And that's got a much harder edge to it. Now, for a psychologist, equity means something quite different. Equity theory is not about the outcomes, it is about the opportunities. So it's making sure that people have equality of opportunity. I mean, that's at its essence, that's what it's about. But in organisations, we need equality of outcome, and I think that's where this reaction has really started from. Is actually how can you assure equality of outcome without filling the process in some way, which then offends that moral dimension, that moral aspect of me, because I now think it's no longer fair. And I think that's where some of this reaction is coming from, because there's been this kind of shift to kind of making sure the outcomes are fair, irrespective of what else is going on.